I will have to buy it?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to have no parts in helping me buy the house?
I mean, I'll be on the deed.
So I'm ready to just like be wide open and completely open up, so I can finally learn some things about her that I never knew.
I think it's a little too late for Aries to try and make any changes. I'm sorry, but I think he took too long to sort of make up his mind, and I don't know whether he's going to be able to turn Jasmine around. And for Kirsten, I don't know why. I don't know why she's decided to ruin her own marriage, because of the things that she says and the things that she does. I don't know whether she's looking for a reason for Shaq to say no on decision day or whatever. I don't get it. Anyway, hey there, it's Valerie. Welcome back. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Married at First Sight, season 16, episode 13. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe, leave a like and a comment. Okay, so I'll review the couples and we'll see how we go. I'll start off with Gina and Clint. So Gina and Clint, for me, they are a business arrangement. That's what I've come to. They are a business arrangement. I think they've just agreed to continue with this experiment until the end because they don't want to pay the fine. But I don't think there's any sort of hope for a romantic connection. I think they're just doing this so that Gina can promote her salon and Clint just stays on the show just for the sake of it. I don't know what he stands to gain, because the reason why I say this is because when it was time to show each other their child, something of their childhood, a piece of their childhood, Clint, Gina to a page and sort of told her about his childhood and how playing sport helped shape him into the man that he has become. He learned about patience. He learned about perseverance. And guess where Gina took us? She took us to the hairdressing school or whatever you call it, where she learned how to do people's hair because she used to be a bartender before she became a hairdresser. And while she was working at this school, she didn't realize that one day she would own her own business and she'd be able to employ a lot of people and blah, de, blah, de, blah, de, blah. Who was surprised? Nobody. Did I think that brought them closer together? No. And I'm surprised that Clint didn't object, because before I remember him saying he doesn't understand whether Gina came onto the show to get married or whether she came in as a publicity stunt for her salon. And this is what she's doing. And he says nothing, because they even had the girls from the salon come up, and it's like, why? Why do the girls have to come to your house? What has the girls from the salon coming to your house got to do with your marriage? If you're working hard to save your marriage, what has your single friend or what is your girls that work for you got to do with it? And the way they were saying something nice about Jeanette, as though they'd recited what to say. Oh, she's very patient. She can have three people asking her for advice, and she'll manage to deal with you individually. And it's like, we get it. She's opening a hair salon. We've heard of it. We don't need to keep hearing about this hair salon. We want to know about her childhood. What else is there to Gina outside of this hairdressing salon? I didn't like that, but that's all I got from their clips, because it was all to do, when it's Gina's side, it's all to do with the salon, and Clint is opening up and he's telling her his life story. And to me, that doesn't match up. She did say in a confessional, "Oh yes, I am drawing closer to Clint." No, she's drawing closer to the publicity she's getting by being on the show for as long as she has been. That's the impression that I got, and I will stick by that. And then we have Nicole and Chris. Nicole and Chris, for me, Nicole really wants to get married. Chris is happy that he has someone who loves him and someone who wants to be in the marriage. And I don't know. There's something a bit off about him anyway. There's something a bit off. So um, Nicole took him to this sort of deli, said it's similar to what she used to go to in New York, and she just wanted him to get a feel of it and how she grew up and the things that she used to do with her family and stuff. And then Chris took Nicole to a painting shop and said his dad has a painting business and he and his siblings worked for his dad from time to time. This, I think, painted a clearer picture. This is the difference between what um, Gina was doing as compared to what the other couples were doing. So he was sort of giving the backstory to his life, why he brought her there, what he enjoyed about it, what sort of memory it represents in his life. Yes, I know the hair salon represents some sort of memory in Gina's life, but there's more to Gina than just the hairdressing salon. Every time she talks, we just hear about the hairdressing salon. It reminds me of I'm a very nice person, because every other minute That's all we're hearing from her. I think Nicole sees herself being married to Chris, and she's already going past decision day because she did say in a confessional that, I am worried that, because she told Chris that she used to play up when she was younger. She didn't listen to her parents. She was associating with the wrong crowd. And she was saying she's worried that if she tells Chris this might turn him away and he might lose interest in her. And it's like, I think there's going to be an issue once after decision day. If they both say yes, there's going to be an issue because when Chris sees the real Nicole, I don't know what's going to happen then. Because when she's speaking to the cameras, she's a totally different person to the sweet, lovely, loving person she's presenting to Chris. And I don't know how long she can keep this act going. And I don't know what's going to happen when Chris eventually discovers who she can be at times. I know one of her friends tried to warn Chris and say, yes, she is a nice person, but she also has another side that can be a bit sort of not mean spirited, but that can be a bit sort of abrupt, more or less. I really liked their letters to their younger selves because Chris spoke about his mom and the people that she dated and how that affected his mom and how that made him feel. And on her part, Nicole spoke about her life and how her relationships shaped her to be the woman that she is, and how I think this is her most perfect relationship that she's been in. And she says, even though she's been through these terrible experiences, she felt that they sort of shaped her or prepared her for the relationship that she's in with Chris. I really have high hopes for them, and I really hope it works out for them. But hey, we'll see how it goes. And then Aries. Aries, I'm sorry, but it's a bit too late. It's a bit too late because he's decided to open up for Jasmine, and Jasmine has been asking him to do this since the beginning of their marriage. He says he's made a decision that he's going to go all in, which means that he was reserved. He did write his letter was very emotional, and I appreciate him opening up, but I think he's opening up way too late. It's really sad in the sense that Eris, I think, waited a bit too long to be vulnerable with Jasmine, and I think now Jasmine is checked out. He did take her to sort of a collectibles shop where he was telling her about his childhood and how he was able to make friends because he collected cars. And even with all the moving that he did as a child, he was still able to hold on to the pictures of the cars. Well, onto the cars, or was it pictures? I don't know. And this was nice. It's nice that he's opening up, but I think it's way too late for Jasmine to take him seriously because he's treated her terribly up until this point. So I don't think she'll be able to sort of get over what he did. Surprisingly, we didn't see Jasmine take him anyway. Instead, we saw Jasmine meet up with a friend and have a conversation. I think Jasmine has told the producers that I'm sorry, but I'm out, and they're sort of trying to bring her back in. And I don't know how they can bring her back in after sitting there and watching him for weeks and weeks say, I'm not attracted to her, I'm not attracted to her. He did sort of read his letter about his younger self and how he sort of was going to explore the world and how he was trying to reassure his younger self because there are things that little black boys don't get to hear. Jasmine spoke about how people don't appreciate her and that she is enough and she shouldn't worry about what everybody else thinks about her. And I think she could have done this as a way to show Eris that she's not going to devalue her worth just because Eris doesn't value her and she is enough. And it's his loss that he didn't realize that or recognize that. And so I feel sorry for Eris. I think it's a sudden change, and I don't know what's made him change. Whether he's had a conversation with his mother and she's told him that what he's doing is not a good thing because this is a great girl, or whether it was the meeting with Dr. Pepper, or whether one of his friends has asked him to really make an effort. I don't know. Whatever's happened, he's really trying because he even read a letter that his dad wrote to his mom, and I wish he had done all this at the start because Jasmine was in with both feet at the start, and I wish he had done that. He could have told her, "Let's not have sex until decision day, but let's start by being vulnerable and see how we go." And he could have been somewhere else. They could have had an amazing, marriage, but he didn't see that, and he focused on the wrong things. And now he's trying to sort of turn the ship, and I think it's a bit too late. Um, and then Kirsten and Shaq. I don't even know where to stand. So Shaq, Kirsten was doing a viewing for a property, so she invited Shaq over. And Kirsten is her own worst enemy at times. I know she's sweet and she's beautiful, but I think she's her own worst enemy in the sense that they were having a conversation about the house and their future plans. I think they should have discussed this off camera before coming with it on camera. Because Kirsten then said to him, "Oh, you need to buy us a house because my dad used to was responsible for everything when I was growing up." And it's like, yeah, but still, there's a way to tell your partner instead of you demanding it. And the fact that you're sitting in this multi-million-dollar house and you're telling him that you expect him to buy you stuff, you expect him to do, I don't think Shaq would have received that any other way than you making demands, that you're sort of basing him your decision to say yes on the fact that he's going to buy you a house. I think there was a bit of a way of doing that. A lot of couples from married at first sight have become property owners with their partners. I think there was a better way she could have phrased that. I think she should have spoken about, at some point once we're settled, we can sort of come together and decide on the type of property we want to buy for our children, for our family, and how much we're willing to spend, and blah blah blah. And then if Shaq offers to do it himself, that's one thing. But for her to demand that, I think that's where she lost Shaq, and Shaq held onto that and wouldn't let go. Um, and then I liked them meeting up with Shaq's family and Shaq sort of saying, his family saying he's the one that keeps the family together. He's the one who's always arranging events and making sure people stay in touch. That was nice. I hope Kirsten is taking this into consideration. She did take him to her childhood home and sort of explained how her parents used to live there before their divorce and whatever. And at least she opened up that much. That I liked. That I liked. And him, Shaq, on his part, obviously had his godmother and his god sister come up, and they were sort of a part of his family that he wanted Kirsten to get to know and sort of have a conversation with. I felt that was very sweet. I really liked that. Um, and then I like the fact that Shaq arranged the double date. So Shaq and Kirsten went on a date with Aries and Jasmine. That was sweet because it's getting to know each other outside of the experiment, outside of arranged sort of meetups. So they get to talk freely. I liked because it listened, the tension in the room because they started to play off this paintball game or whatever they were playing where they were sort of firing shots at each other. And it was quite sweet. It was quite sweet because the girls were sort of chasing the guys. And at one point, they had the guys cornered and stuff. So it was nice to see that they actually do have friendships outside of just their marriages. And I like the fact that they were able to sit with the other spouse's partner and sort of have a conversation on how they feel their marriage is going and if there are any issues. Shaq is amazing. I know people were saying that Shaq should have been matched with Jasmine. I don't think so. I think they would have been bored by each other by at the end of the day because I think they're both very laid back. I think they need that oomph that Kirsten or Eris brings to their relationship. Um, I like the fact that Shaq was very reassuring to Jasmine that, you have to have a conversation with Aries and tell him this is where we are. This is who I am. This is what I expect in a marriage. It's either you come along for the ride or you get off and we go our separate ways. And it was very sweet when he said to her, I am not saying you're a beautiful woman because I'm hitting on you. I do have my own wife. And I was so happy that you clarified that because he knew people would see that and start saying, oh, that Shaq is hitting on somebody else's wife, and you wanted to make that be known. I think Kirsten needs to really sit down because they did have a conversation afterwards, and they're sort of having this back and forth. I have some sort of reservation about Shaq and Kristen because I think there's more to their relationship. I think there are some things that are happening off camera because they did have the conversation about buying a house, and Kristen was saying, "Oh, I was just joking," and Shaq was, "Oh, how can you say you were joking? You told me off for joking. You said, there's a time and place, and I don't think at that time it was the time to joke. And besides, you've just told me that your friends have husbands that buy them cars and houses and whatever. So if that's the case." Then you need to marry one of those people. And it's like, Kirsten needs to be realistic. This man is educated. He's obviously going to have money. So she should have just played her cards right. She should have just waited to see what he does. And then if there's any issues, they should have discussed that instead of fighting about you should, not something that's actually happening at the moment. They're fighting about something that's past decision day, and yet they don't even know whether they're going to say yes or no on decision day. That didn't make sense to me. That didn't make sense to me. But anyway, I digress. Um, Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Bye everyone.